Hi everyone, it's Deborah, and today I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do some quilting. What I'm working on or working with is one of these, which is called a jelly roll. It's basically 42 2.5 inch strips. So this is a different one, different colorway, different brand, same brand, Moda. So I usually use Moda all the time, but the one I'm working on today is this one here, which is just gorgeous colors. Really love the colors in this one. If you're looking for this one, here it is here. It's called Cottage Bleu by Robin Pickens for Moda. The first thing you need to do is to pick out 34 strips. So I've picked out my 34 strips and sorted them into 17 light. So this is the light one here. And then 17 dark, and that's the dark. And I've laid the 17 dark out, and then I've put the light ones on top. So this one here is a light, and you can see the blue is a light, this is the light, and this is the dark. Now sometimes it's hard and you can't quite get your lights and darks, I find that, but just do your best, because at the end of the day in the quilt it's really not going to matter very much. Now I'm going to take these strips and I'm going to sew them into strip sets. So that's basically just sewing the two of them together lengthways. Here is the strip set that I've just sewn. I haven't pressed it. I'm not going to press it at this point. At this time in the Fat Quarter Shop Jelly Roll Twist, you're meant to cut this into 5-inch strips. So you'd cut your selve edge off and then cut 5-inch pieces off that. I'm not going to do that because I think that the way I'm going to do it is going to be much quicker. So this is the quick way, because instead of creating 5-inch squares or using a charm pack which is already pre-cut at 5 inches, I'm using yardage, and I've cut it at 5 inches wide and sewn it along the strip set that I made earlier, and that means that I've got the first two parts done. Instead of cutting this up into 5-inch strips, 5-inch widths of this, of the strip set, and then 5 inches of this, I've done it all in one, and it'll work out the same. It's just going to be so much quicker to do it this way. Here are my strip sets all cut up. So what you're going to make from the one with the white is you need to make 7. So you'll get 7 out of that strip set. This is the piece that you'll have left over. It's quite large, but you can just put it into your stash and use it as a starting point for a scrappy quilt. And here on the 9-inch ones, you need to make 4. So you cut 4, you do one strip set and then you cut 4. So here's my final block. I've just randomly put the two together. I haven't worried about whether the light's on the inside or the outside. I don't think that it really matters at the end of the day, but if you want to do that you can. And with the others you need to mix them up. So I'm obviously not going to join all of these ones that I've made to all of these, or the quilt's going to look the same in patches. I'm just going to explain to you then what I do. So you'll end up with, and I've got this a bit mixed up, so let me sort it for a bit. You'll end up with piles that look like this, where you've got all the same fabric. So that's the one with the white square that you've cut out, and you'll end up with piles like this. So every bit of it sits in the one pile like that. And the reason I do this is to make sure that the quilt looks random. It's very hard to get things to look random if you're really trying to do so. So I don't bother doing that. I just leave these in the pile where I sorted them in the first place. So you'll end up with a whole bunch of these with the white square. Then you'll end up with a whole lot of your strip sets cut at the 9-inch mark. And what I do then is I put them in piles of like for like. So you'll have 4 of each of these, 4 of each of these, 4 of each of these. And then what I do is I pick from that pile. So one from here, one from here, one from here, one from everything. So then I end up with 4 piles, and I've used one of them, so I've only got 3 left now. But you'll basically end up with 4 piles where every single one of the strip sets in here is different, and in here. Now you can start with a different one each time when you pick. For example, I picked that one first and just randomly picked and counted that I had 11, that they were all different. Then I picked this one, did the same thing, and this one. Don't think about it too much. If you want to start with a different one each time, you can. And then you take these to the machine, and the pile where you've got 11 different prints or strip sets in there, and you start to put them on. So I chain piece all of this at the one time, and you can determine which way round you want it. And the reason I do this is because these are in order and these are not. That way I'm going to get the randomness. So I might put that like that or that like that. I don't like the cream against the colour, the base colour I've used. So I would turn this over and sew it. And then with the next one, I just do the same thing. Have them all up the same way, work out which way I want, like that. So then I put that through and chain piece that. The next one, and so on and so forth. And that way, when you've finished your quilt, it should look more random than what it otherwise might look. This is how you lay this out. You start in the top left, and you've got to put 7 across. Remember, you've got 42, so it's going to be 7 by 6. And you put it with the 2 strips up, and then the second one you put it with the 2 strips on the side. So if you had it like that, you just twist it. I think that's why they called it the jelly roll twist. This one's the same. Every second one you will twist like that. So that's basically what you do on that one. When it comes to your second row, you turn it the other way. So this one, you've got your 2 strips here, and then at the bottom. So first row is strips at the top and on the left side, top, left side, top, left side. Second row, so every second row would be different. The strips are on the right and the bottom. So top and the left, right and the bottom. So this one here would go on the right, here like this. So you've got that happening. And you can see that it actually is a really nice, pretty little quilt, and it hasn't taken that long to do it. I've whipped this up in a few hours. So if that one's on the right, then this one's on the bottom. I have to talk to myself when I do this stuff, otherwise I get mixed up. So again, once you hit the third row, you'll start with your 2 strips, as you did in the first row, on the top, and then the right, and then the left. So top left for this every second row. Hope that makes sense, but I'll attach the link to the pattern, to the Jelly Roll Twist pattern by Moda below. And this is just my take to make it a little bit quicker, because I don't like all that sort of pinning and sewing, pinning stuff together and matching up blocks and things like that. I'm too lazy to do that, so this is my take on it. Here's the completed quilt top. I just have to get the binding and the backing, and then I can put that on and quilt it up. Thanks for joining me. This is Deborah. Cheers.